Hello and welcome to the episodes of Finn in Aussie Path. So basically, I'm Finnish person, currently living in Australia. So I'm Janika Ruuska and I'm doing my master's thesis here. I'm also having episodes of Future Neuroscientist where you can follow neuroscience related topics and my study path. But in today's episode, in this series, we will talk about the triggers from the new environment. So basically, what new environment can trigger in you and what all might help you to adapt to new environment. Welcome to today's episode. So obviously, when you're moving, it doesn't need to be that you are moving to a different country. It can also be that you are just moving from place to another place or from city to another city. But especially when you are moving from another country to some new country, if you haven't been there, that's even bigger trigger. So yes, obviously new environment always brings something up. And why is that? Three things comes to my mind at first when I'm thinking why the new environment triggers me. The first thing what came to my mind, this maybe considers the situations when a person is moving from new country and doesn't have too many people there waiting. So being alone, that can be one reason why the new environment triggers things. Because you need to be a lot of in your own head. And I will tell in shortly what kind of things being alone might trigger. But the second thing why new environment can trigger something is that in new environment everything is new. So basically things are not working in a way you maybe have used to. If you would move to just a new place, it just can be the place you are now living doesn't have things in the same places, or the shops you have used to go to buy your groceries, they are not the same. It takes time to find things. And if you are moving to another country, everything is different, or at least almost everything. So starting from how to handle your bank things or taxes or how to put fuel into your car, even that, trust me. So the third reason why new environment can trigger something is that the culture is different. Even you would have traveled a lot, like I have traveled a lot. I have seen quite many different cultures and I love different cultures. So I don't have any kind of resistance existing like towards that. But still, I can feel that I'm different. I'm talking differently. I have different habits what I have learned in my culture. So yeah, the three things what I would mention were you're alone, things doesn't work as you have maybe used to, and the third one, the culture. Then let's move on what it triggers. One thing I mentioned as a why reason, like being alone. So being a lot in my own head, yeah, that triggers a lot. It makes me to think what kind of people I have in my life, how important they are. But one of the biggest things, what it triggered, was that who am I? And I think it's also related to environment question. So who am I here when I don't have the usual people around me who can already in some manner define me? I can kind of create myself again, but in a way I think my core is still the similar. So what is the core? Who am I? And this came to my mind especially in the beginning when I met a lot of new people. So I was thinking, what should I say first? What I want them to know about me. I was so aware of my facial expressions and I really analyzed all that. Like what all this tells about me. But yeah, actually I really liked that trigger. I thought a lot and yes, as I mentioned, I really found that I have core me. Also, this I need to mention, I think this came to my mind already when I lived in Hong Kong, That was my first time living abroad. It's already years back. But I still remember that I became really, really aware how I live my life, what are my kind of habits, and are they normal? Of course, we can say what is normal, but that was the question in my head. Yeah, first you become really aware how you do things in your life because they are not exactly maybe fitting into the environment. It kind of brings up some kind of emotions, so it might trigger a little bit deeper things than just your habits. So, for example, when I lived in Hong Kong, before traveling there, I was extremely organized, multiplied million times. So I'm still super organized and I love that side in me. But I remember that it was kind of, it felt so catastrophic that I couldn't control things. So I needed to deal a lot to trying to trust that everything will work out, even I wouldn't be able to control everything. But if we come back here, so yes, I thought, who am I? How I live my life. But one also really big thing to think what I will do with my life. And gotta say, this might depend where you are in your life. I'm currently doing my master's thesis, so I'm obviously thinking how and where I would like to continue my studies, what I would like to work, do I want to use my life for work, these kind of things. And it's highly dependent from my current situation. But I bet that in new environment, these things might come up even you wouldn't be in similar situation. Just because you can see, especially when you are in a new country, you can see how people live their life and it might be slightly different than you have used to. For example, what is the attitude about work life in your new environment? What people think about it? Does it have so huge role as back home? Also about family and friendships and like so many things might be different, like the attitude there. So it might trigger you to think that what you want to do in your life, what you want to focus. And actually now I want to share one really important realization what I had quite recently due to one really important phone call. So quite a long time I have thought, because I'm really work oriented person, so I'm doing a lot all the time. So for a long time I have thought that do I want to live my life like this, that I'm focusing so much to my work. So I have tried to find the balance between free time and work life. And what I think now is not completely different, that like it's important to have the balance, but it has slightly changed my thoughts about it. And there is a reason. So when this whole process started, I thought that I should have more free time, I should enjoy my life more kind of outside of the work. And the phone call I mentioned, we talked about this, or I mentioned this thing, and then this person said that, yeah, but you like your work. And that was simple comment, but it was really important comment. Because then I was like, oh yeah, that's really true. I have been in situations in my history where I have worked and haven't enjoyed that much. So I have basically just kind of completed the work, just earned the money, and then I have lived a lot outside of the work. And that's one way of living. And I'm not saying that there is something bad in that. But now I feel that the work I'm doing, I'm really enjoying about it. So there is a difference. I still encourage people to have free time to do things, even you would enjoy your work. But this comment that, yeah, you like your work, was kind of, I don't need to try to find the balance so much, because it's not something opposite from my free time, like the feeling in there. So yeah, this was one thing what I realized. I hope this helps someone who might be in a similar situation. One thing what a new environment can trigger, especially if you don't have the people around you have used to hang out with, it quite often makes you to think that what kind of relationships you have in your life and what kind of relationships you would like to have in your life when you need to create new relationships with people. But also what kind of person you want to be in those relationships. I think this is kind of related to same topic as who am I as a person. You can kind of create yourself and then you have the core in you still there. When you are in a new environment, no one knows you. So yeah, in relationships it does work, but I bet we have some really strong ways to act and communicate in relationship, and we don't need to kind of discard everything and then start over again. But you can kind of stop and think, which are the things which serves you the most, like your own habits, how you would like to act in relationships, which kind of feels most natural to you. But yeah, if you are trying to balance, to keep in touch with the people from your previous life, like from your place you left from, and then also creating new relationships, it might trigger kind of also what kind of communication you need, like these kind of questions. And for sure, when you are spending a lot of time maybe alone in a new environment, things are changing, it might bring up really old things you have thought you have handled already, have gone through those things million times, and then they come back again. Yeah, I had also one of these, which was really interesting because I really thought that I have gone through it already, and then it came back. It wasn't as strong as previously, but it was still there, and I'm still working with it. And I don't know if I will or want to get kind of rid of it. I just need to accept it in me that it's part of me, but it can be maybe a little bit lighter version than it used to be. So in my case, this was my tendency to please people, because I like the feeling that people like me, and I'm not just doing it because of that. I'm not doing it please like me, but it's just kind of easier to make everyone's life easier when I'm an easy person. So in a way, I put myself under others, and I used to do this when I was way more younger, and I have worked with it like million times, and I have become more kind of me and confident about myself, and I really like myself, if I may say so. But still, this came up, and gotta say, I was a little bit annoyed. But it's nice to see that when you have worked with this some topic previously, and if it comes up, you recognize it way more faster, and you can also act way more faster, like process things. And I also know what comes to kind of pleasing the people, being nice. It can be sometimes also be a little bit annoying for other people. Yeah, there are many things what happens when you are doing things for others and not thinking about yourself. I'm always thinking that it's good to have the goodness in you, so I'm not encouraging to be selfish in a mean way. But I want to say that when we know more how we are and are brave to express it, be us, take care of our own boundaries, it also helps other people. Because when you communicate about those, they know about, for example, your boundaries, and they know how you act, and it just can make things easier. So I'm saying it's not a bad thing to take care of yourself. Yeah, but this was one thing what came up, and I reacted pretty fast. It took a while, but pretty fast still. And then I want to mention something specific to this culture. I think there would be many, but this is also depends what you do in your life. what you pay attention. So in my case, so I'm exercising a lot, so I'm going to gyms a lot. I have done that for years and years. I'm also working with a topic which is highly related to body image and food, so I'm working with the anorexia. I also love healthy eating and taking care of my body, so these topics are in my head in a way like all the time, especially now when I'm working with the topic. In a way, I feel that the topics are here also bigger. Those got kind of triggered that what is my relationship with food and what is the relationship with my body. And these have been really good triggers. I think all the triggers are really good. Yeah. Yeah, they bring up something important you need to think through, which helps you to maybe move forward or kind of decide how you will live your life. Okay, the last thing I want to talk today is that how to adapt to new environment. Even though triggers are good, as I mentioned, and you decide if you want to work with them or not. But at the same time, it's really good to find things which helps you to adapt to the environment. Because if you would be in this high energy, this like, these all are like new and a lot of things I need to process and so on, it's actually really hard to process things if you can't adapt even a little to your environment, which triggers you all the time. So I want to share these things which help me to settle here to Australia as a Finnish person. So I think first things, I had a love different scents. So I don't have perfumes, but I have essential oils. So I had those with me from Finland. So I use those daily, and it's kind of, those are just really important to me. You might have some other things you like music, it can be like something familiar from the place you used to live. It might help you to adapt to the new environment. It can be maybe if you change just the apartment, it can be some furnitures or some clothes which makes you happy, so kind of things which gives you some positive memories and like feeling. But the first things here, what helped me a lot was food. So the things what I have used to eat back home, not everything is similar, but I had few things, like for me it was yogurt and berries and honey. That was one thing, so I had that. I didn't need to think anything than just like, I know this is good and this makes me happy, this makes me feel good, so that helped me to adapt. The second thing was gym for me, because I have done gym for so many years. I have like certain things what I do there. So when I went back to gym, even the environment was new, I knew what to do there. So it was kind of like returning back to home. And it was also something to do, like keeping myself active. And I would say that part of why the gym felt good was that the next point, it's my routine. So routines helps a lot. So I have certain days when I will go to gym, certain times when I will go there, but not just the gym. It was also about like sleeping, because when I have certain routine, I will give energy to my body. So if everything would be mixed up, it might be a bit harder to adapt to the new environment. Yeah, also work. It gave me something to think, something to do. Also new routines helped. So I went to market to buy the food every Sunday before the food prep. So these tiny bits and pieces helped me to create some kind of structure to my week. The week wasn't like fully booked, but there were some things what I do every week. So it kind of gives to my brain a break that, okay, now we know what happens. So it kind of decreases the alertness. It's just like, okay, this is gonna happen in these times. In other times, it might be a little bit triggering. And as I mentioned, the food market, so new things were also important. New things that causes some kind of pleasure. And I think this is highly important. So you might have your old routines and old things to kind of reminding you how you used to live your life, but to adapt to your new environment, which is not the same as it used to be, it's really important to take new things step by step, part to your life. And I would first recommend to take these really nice things. So, for example, explore some new areas. I went to beach quite often. When I get to know people, we started to do things together, breakfast or climbing or something, which wasn't completely new, but it was new here because I didn't know the people or I didn't know the beaches. I took those new things from this environment, which caused me some certain level of pleasure, which made me happy. So it helped me to see the beauty of this place. So not just being all the time that, oh, everything is new, how I should react, but like, oh, everything is new. Like, I would like to try that. And gotta mention, it's not always that easy. Sometimes, like when you come to new environment, everything changed. At least I felt really, really tired in the beginning. So I just needed to understand in my head that, okay, this will help me. Even though I'm tired today and I would like to just go to sleep. Yeah, so of course I took care of my like sleeping things, but it's a different energy level than the other one, the exhausting feeling. So I needed to push my limits a little bit. Not too much, but little bit, like, okay, I will do one new thing today which I know will be really nice thing and helps me. I know that in my head I'm feeling a little bit exhausted, but I will do it today, maybe not tomorrow. So it was kind of finding the correct amount. And I think the most important thing, it's good to mention it always in the end of the video, but what helps to adapt to new environment, the first step is to admit that it might be hard and the environment can trigger some things. So just admitting the whole situation. Everything starts from there. Like, okay, these kind of emotions may arise, or these kind of thoughts came to my head. I need to accept that. And then, kind of after accepting, making actions. Actions to the direction which you know that will help you. If you don't know, you can try, then reflect back, like how this made me feel. Is it good? Is it taking me forward? Is it helping me? So it's all the time kind of pushing your limits a little bit, then going a little back, and then deciding if you want to go even further with that or to the different direction. So yeah, this was all from today's episode. I hope you enjoyed and see you on next time. Bye!